in a playlist. It's a summary, a little bit, talking about of 2 Maccabees. It is a uh, violent, forced Hellenization campaign by Antiochus the Fourth Epiphanes. It was designed to abolish Jewish laws. It details how the Jews were compelled to break the Torah laws by sacrificing to idols, breaking the Sabbath, and leading to severe torture and martyrdom for those who refused to conform. Forced Hellenization. Antiochus IV Epiphanes sent an Athenian senator to turn the temple into a shrine for Zeus olympios. Jews were forced to eat sacrificial meats which were forbidden by the Jewish law. Jews were forced to participate in Dionysus processions, sacrifices. The temple was filled with debauchery, abominable sacrifices on the altar. Eleazar was an elderly scribe, and he was martyred after he refused to even pretend to eat the forbidden pork. A mother and her 7 sons were tortured and killed for refusing to break the dietary laws. And Judas Maccabeus and his men fought back and attacked the cities that were aiding the oppression of the Jews. And 2 Maccabees 4:13 talks about the hatred, the intense malice of Simon, who was a Benjamite and the temple administrator. And he had this intense hate against Onias, the high priest, Onias III, which escalated to the point where members of Simon's faction committed murders. This violence is driven by envy and political tension, forced Onias to appeal to King Seleucus for an intervention to prevent further chaos. Simon was a traitor to his country. He slandered Onias III, who was a zealous keeper of the law and a protector of the city. The hostility grew so severe that members of Simon's group began murdering supporters of Onias. Onias realized the internal strife and, combined with malicious reports from Governor Apollonius, made peace impossible, prompting him to seek aid from the king. This conflict ultimately led to increased corruption, increased Hellenization of Jerusalem, severe turmoil under Jason, which was Onias' brother, when he seized the priesthood. 2 Maccabees, several individuals are described as open enemies or traitors to their own countrymen, the Jews. With Jason, not to be confused with Jason Serene, and Menelaus being prominent examples. Jason, after a false rumor of Antioch's death, Jason attacked Jerusalem, driving his own countrymen into the temple fortress. The text states that he slew his own citizens without mercy, was ultimately deemed a traitor, hated as a forsaker of laws, and being had in abomination as an open enemy to his country and his countrymen. Menelaus was described as having a malicious mind against his countrymen, the Jews, portrayed as a corrupt figure, brought heavy suffering upon the citizens. Simon, in 2 Maccabees 3:4 and 4:1, was identified as a betrayer of money and of his country. He brought accusations against high priest Onias, caused great distress to the nation. And Alchemist, 2 Maccabees 14:3, was a former high priest who willfully incurred defilement and actively betrayed his people to King Demetrius to regain power. Did I give you the numbers for Menelaus? 2 Maccabees 5:23, malicious mind against his countrymen. Here's an exciting piece of news. In 2 Maccabees 5:1, For 40 days, golden-clad horsemen were seen charging through the air over Jerusalem, fully armed with lances and swords. It was a divine apparition, appeared as a battle and cavalry maneuvers in the sky, causing many to pray that the omen would turn to good. The figures appeared as horsemen dressed in gold, gilded raiment, armed with spears and swords. They were seen in companies, charging at each other, brandishing weapons, forming troops for battle. This occurred immediately before the crisis involving Jason's assault on Jerusalem and the subsequent desecration of the temple by Antiochus IV Epiphanes. 2 Maccabees focuses on the Maccabean revolt, emphasizing the martyrdom and resurrection of the dead and God's mercy. It does portray Judas Maccabeus as the chief defender who cleanses the temple, defeats the Suklid general Nicanor, and it leads up to the Feast of Hanukkah. It's condensed from the history of Jason of Cyrene, concentrating on the faithful struggle against Hellenism.